So the first question I have for you is why skills-based hiring? When we talked, over the winter, you had mentioned an interest in this topic. So why is it important now?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, and it's like whenever you get these trends and a new phrase enters, our world, and think, well, what caused that and where did it start? And I truly believe that similar to the way we've laid it out in the book, is organizations are almost being forced to rethink. I was saying at the end of last year that 2024 will be the year of doing more with less. So every organization have tight budgets, within this still in this weird post-COVID world that we're trying to work out. But the one truism is that every senior leader is being asked to do more with less. I can't give you more budget. We need to create more work. At the same time, we've got people that are still hurting from some of the layoffs that happened in the middle of COVID and don't want to just, like we seem to do every time the market spikes again, we just go out and hire people. And then come a cycle, we've got to let a few go. And I think we're now in a world where, because we have data at our fingertips that we can track and measure all of that and the impact of it, that we collectively think there must be a better way. And that, I think, then starts getting people looking internally and saying, well, if we're starting with the work, then the question should be, is there a better way of getting that work done? Which leads quite naturally onto, have we got the right people to do that? And if you break that down one level more, do we have the right skills inside our organization to achieve that work? I think that's the journey we went on. I can only sort of take an intelligent guess at that. But the reason now it's becoming so hot and I don't think it is a blip. I do think this is a trend that will continue and continue. Is a few things going on. We have a massive talent shortage that is only getting worse. If we talk from a North American lens, we have a sub 4% unemployment. That's probably at sub 2.5 for IT in particular. We've got this weird dynamic of at the high end, hard to fill jobs. It's getting tougher and tougher, and it's getting tougher at the other end as well. Blue collar LI, there's a massive shortage. So as companies get frustrated with constantly going to market, either they can't find the people, or if they can, they're very expensive. That again lends itself to say, how do we get work done differently? You then match to organizations starting to look internally from an internal mobility perspective. That then leads to, well, if we're going to do that, we better understand what skills we've got. And I always glibly say that most companies have to go out to LinkedIn, to see what skills they have inside their organization, which is definition of madness. So I think that's why it's important now. I think that's why there's a growth in the interest in the space, but those would be the most important ones. And I think that, and the reason I say it's a trend is the talent shortage isn't getting better. Here in the US, we're just not producing enough people with the skills that we need. We produce 85,000 computer science grads a year, and compare that to, nearly 2 million in India. You can see that, whatever happens in the next short term, we're not going to solve this problem by just continually going to market, and therefore we need to look internally. Therefore, we need to look at having more of a skills-based approach. We'll get into it, of course.
So that sounds like a good argument for this is not a blip or hype. It's actually something that's starting to take root. And it's gone, at least at some of the conferences I've been over the past year or two. It went from here's the next big thing and everyone's talking about skills to here's what we're doing in terms of skills this year and actual programs. And then starting to see a little bit of here's some of the lessons we've learned so far.
Yeah.
So to me, that's a pattern that this is something that's going to stick.